Okay. Sometimes
You can
that white
fire ahead.
noise, too much. It's too much. All right, let's get this campfire discussion started, shall we? Did you start the recording, Gina? Do I need, oh, you did. Look at that little red dot. You're the best. Cheerio. All right, well, thank you all for coming to our mentor coordinator roundup, the Campfire at the Corral. And still want to hear what your favorite camping meal or snack is. If you want to put that into the chat. Camping season is close. I am personally not a fan of camping. I like to enjoy the great outdoors from the great indoors. Maybe some of you know this about me, but I know that there are lots of people who may fully appreciate that. Luke, is this a special background just for today's call? Because I'm super impressed. If you have followed the theme as closely, or is it really just where you are right now?
If you're talking to me, it's really just where I am right now. I'm replacing the compressor at the Lake of the Ozarks.
I love it. It looks like you could have a campfire. If you're stuck there too long, you might need one. But just be careful.
I'll have a torch going here in a second, so don't be alarmed if you see flames.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and go about your business. We'll see. We've got people working, we've got people driving, people in their offices. Just please be careful and pay as much attention as you possibly can. We are going to talk today more specifically and more focused than we have on our past calls about a couple of things that already exist. As Gina and I have been working with the chapter success coaches across the US, we have been kind of following a theme for the last 2 or 3 months. Use what you've got. So we want you to know what's already available for your chapters. There is no need for us to reinvent things. BNI has been doing things really well for almost 40 years. And the things we are doing pretty well keep getting better, or we stop doing them. So what we have now is available to a lot of you to help your new members. I want us to talk about why that's important, why we're focusing like a laser beam on our brand new members, even though there is a lot of legitimacy to making sure that our gray and red members are getting mentored, and you have lots of other reasons that you could be paying attention. If we focus on our first year members, those brand new members, they are far more likely to be the leaders in future leadership teams. They are far more likely to keep passing referrals and stay in the chapter, so everybody gets the ROI on their membership they're hoping for. So thank you for agreeing with me, at least on the surface of it, that this is important and that's why you're here. And so let's talk about them as if they are new customers, because they're new customers. They just bought a product. They just invested in a membership. So if you have new customers in your business, or if we're looking at our new members as customers, what do you think? I have a set of 3 things I'm thinking of from a book I read recently, but I'd like to know your thoughts first. What are the kinds of things that you think new members to an organization want to know? I've just joined something, whether it's a gym or Netflix or your company newsletter, whatever it is. What do they want to know when they're first starting with a company or any kind of organization? Let's see, you're putting it in. How does it work? Okay, that's really good. What are they getting? What's expected? Yes. How to make connections. I like that. Yeah. Oh, that's really good, Cindy. My favorite resources. That's good. The plan, events. Yeah, what's in it for them? That's so true, Jennifer. What do I have to do? What are the benefits? Yeah, people want to know, did I spend my money in a good place? Who's in charge if they have questions? Emily, excellent. Yeah, what's the first thing or the next thing I do? Yeah, hopefully if they've already subscribed, they know what the cost is, Stephen, but they might have questions nonetheless. Yeah, good. How to be successful. Yeah, make sure you get the return on the investment. Oh, Marcy, kind of a relational question. Yeah, do they belong? That's so good. Good, good, good. All right, so I'm guessing you know these answers so quickly. A, because you're very fast at typing, but also because you've probably run into these people as you have had customers or you've talked to people in your chapter. And specifically as we think of customers in terms of our new members, if we haven't told you before, Gina and I are pretty big fans of the book called Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman. And he talks about 3 things that new customers who have just purchased or just subscribed to something, 3 things that almost all new customers want to know. And the first one is, who can answer my questions? Some of you got this right. If something goes wrong, who do I go to? If I'm not sure of something, who do I go to? If I want to give some customer service feedback, who do I go to? They want to know who can answer my questions. They may not have any questions, but they'd like to know. Some people like me, I'm a planner, and I want to know what to do when something goes wrong before it goes wrong. My husband's philosophy is we'll figure it out. And those are 2 legitimate kinds of responses to things, but some people like to know ahead of time who can answer my questions. They also want to know they're not throwing their money away. They want to know this was a good investment. And especially as you have new members now, if they've joined since April 1st, and if you have new members who are going forward, they will want to know, as our prices adjust over time, this may be a way more significant impact for some than for others. So we want to be sensitive to the fact that this is an investment in their business. We know there's value because you are all into this chapter and you know, we want them to know you made a good decision. You're in the right place. And then they want to know, now I'm in, you've processed my payment, you've inducted me, I've sworn to give you my firstborn child if I don't have enough referrals. Now what do I do? What's the next thing I do? So these are the things our new members are asking too in the BNI vernacular. Who is my coach? I can't tell you how many times I'm on a call with first-year member essentials. People don't know who their chapter success coach is. That is not to throw the coaches under the bus. I'm sure you have introduced yourselves, but sometimes there's so much new that it's hard to keep it straight. So they want to know, should I go to my managing director? Who's my managing director? Do I just go straight to Dr. Meisner? Can I ask him a question? They don't know. They don't know how it works and who's accessible to them. And they want to know that this money is going to get them something for their business. We want that to be the case as well. And once they get into a chapter and they say, yes, I'm inducted, I'm a full-time member, they processed my payment, now what? I hear all these great testimonials about people making money, passing referrals. How do I get started? It's a system, right? If you just walked into a gym and they had all of the equipment for Pilates, I don't know if you've ever seen a Pilates class or something. It is specific equipment that you need a little instruction to know how to operate, or you're going to hurt yourself. And we don't want any of our members to hurt themselves with the system that we have in BNI. So let's keep this framework in mind, and I will also send you this deck afterwards. I will probably send this deck to all mentor coordinators and coaches, even if they're not on this call, because I hope that you will find this to be valuable information. And you'll have some breakout rooms later so that you can watch the recording of this part or share it. We'll pause the recording for breakout rooms, and then you'll be able to watch the end of it. We'll talk about some resources. Now, how many of you, by a show of physical hands or Zoom hands, how many of you have been on a webinar with me to do first-year member essentials? Anybody been on that with me? 2 hands, a couple of you, 2 hands. Wow, thank you for that enthusiasm. Love it. Yes. Well, I have done the first-year member essentials webinar probably close to 50 times now. We do it twice a month. I've done it, I think I'm in my 3rd year or something. We have done a lot of these, and at the end, they have a short survey, and I've gotten thousands of responses from the surveys of what our new members are telling us. We don't have to guess. It's the beauty of this. So their specific questions fall under the categories we just mentioned. They fall under the category of who do I talk to, as well as what am I supposed to do, and is this a good investment? So one of the questions that I hear members talk about and that I see in the surveys is, I don't know the difference between the different websites. Then they don't know how their next step should be. They don't know what to do next because they don't know these resources and they don't know who to ask. Sometimes people will say, and you may respond, "Ugh, I know there's so many websites, it's crazy. Why can't we just have one?" And I would say to you, would you buy your fine jewelry the same place you buy your lumber? I hope you wouldn't. We need different resources for different purposes. So we have different websites for different purposes. They don't know though, and they're overwhelmed because they're all new to them. Another thing they want to know is, how do I even use this BNI Connect? Once they know the right website, they don't know how to enter a CEU. They don't know what a CEU is. They don't know how to put in a referral step by step once they log in. They just don't know. It's brand new to them. And they're asking, it's the burning question many of them have, because they can't wait to give a referral and have a one-to-one. And then they go, yeah, but now what? Now what do I do? And they really, really want to know that. They also are kind of afraid to talk in front of people. And this doesn't seem to matter whether they're on Zoom or if they're in person. They don't know what to say so that they'll get referrals, and they don't know what to say so they won't feel embarrassed. A lot of people, especially if they come into a big chapter, they are not used to standing up in front of 50 people and talking about their own business, which is one of the best benefits of BNI, is you get to do it every week and get really good at it. But your new members don't know. They don't know what to say, and they're nervous about that. And this one makes my heart break just a little bit every time when they say, well, what's a passport? The Passport to Success program, I don't know what you're talking about. And that makes me think that maybe not all the chapters are doing this, or they're not finishing them through. So your coach, if you are a mentor coordinator on this call, your coach is a really good resource for that. And if you are the chapter success coach, we have lots of ways for you to support your mentor coordinators in helping the new members get to where they want to go. Now we have the added benefit. Since November, MSP 2.0 incorporates the one-to-ones to the Passport. So as they're doing the modules for MSP 2.0, they're having one-to-ones as part of that. So we can track them together. And that's pretty useful. And we can talk about that a little bit later at the end if we so desire. Most importantly, what I want you to know is, when I ask in the survey what was the most valuable piece of information that we covered on this call, more than anything else, they say the most valuable topic was the fact that they need to connect their business goals to their BNI activity. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard somebody say, I have to leave the chapter. I don't have time to do all the stuff BNI wants me to do because I have to work on my business. Those are people who don't get this connection. So I am telling 200 new members every time I'm on the webinar. That's about how many we have now. So 300 or 400 new members every month. I'm saying the best thing you can do for your membership is figure out where you want to go in your business and who you need to meet to help get you there. That's what networking is. And if you're doing that, then you're saying, I need to meet with somebody to find employees. My one-to-ones, I'm going to talk about how do you onboard and recruit, or I need to find a location for a meeting. How do you find that? There are lots of things that we do in networking to meet our business goals. But if we're separating those, then it feels like you're doing stuff for Gina and me, and that's not what you're doing. You're not doing it for BNI. We work for you. So if we can help our new members do this, they are going to be far more successful more quickly than if we just cross our fingers and hope for the best. Okay, I'm going to pause here before we get to the next little section because I'm seeing some good questions in here. Is there a way to determine which new members have attended if the first year member essentials? Yes, Rob, there is a way to determine that. Every time I finish one, I pull up the attendance report from Zoom and I post that to a place where all of the chapter success coaches have access to it. So if your chapter success coach has access to it, they can share it with you. If they are maybe not really sure where to get it or something, you can send an email specifically to me, jennybutts@bni.com, and we will try to figure out a way for you to get that information. It's not practical since I send an email 3 times a month to 3,000 people at a time. It's not practical for me to cross-reference all different kinds of things. But if there is something specific you want to know about first year member essentials, just email me and I'll see if I can connect you. First year member essentials is designed for new members, Emily. But it is a lot of overlap and reinforcement of MSP 2.0 stuff so that it can help in one big gulp sometimes reinforce the things they've been doing in little bites in MSP 2.0. I also know that there are some chapter success coaches who have been on it 3 or 4 times. I know that there is a man in Connecticut who was a new member last year and he attended 7 times. So people have been a member for a while, they get something out of it, and brand new members. I had somebody on yesterday's call who's been to 1 meeting and he came. So it really kind of matters when they can fit it in their schedules and when they're most absorbing the information. What else? Oh, and you're just cranking away in here, aren't you? You said the same thing in here, Gina. Look at that. All right. Okay, let's move on to what we really, really want, as the Spice Girls say. What do we want? We want successful members. Yes, we do. We want, I'm assuming you are good-natured people and you are embracing Givers Gain. We want the same thing for our new members that we enjoy and the things that are helping us in our businesses. Do you enjoy building relationships? Do you? Yeah. Do we want our new members to build relationships? Yeah. We know one of the reasons that members don't stay in a chapter is because they don't think anyone will miss them. And if they build relationships, they don't have to feel that way. I don't mean to get all gushy on you. Nobody cry. There's no crying in BNI. We also want them to generate referrals. If I have a new member coming in, if Amy just got into my chapter, I'm like, welcome, welcome. Show me the money. No, that's not going to be it. But I want my new members to be passing referrals. We also know statistically, it's every bit as important that they give referrals as it is that they receive them, sometimes more so. Members who stay for a first year likely have passed a referral early in their membership, and that feels really good to make that connection and to help somebody. So I'm going to stick around longer if I can see Paul succeed and Diane succeed and Kelly succeed, because I know I was a part of that, and that feels good to new members. And of course, we want them to bring visitors. I mean, if the Dunbar number is to be believed, they've got 150 people we've never met yet, and we would love to give them the introduction to our business. So we want them to bring visitors. And we want them to understand and use the BNI system. That's why we have CEUs, because we have a really great system that works, and we don't want people to have to guess or feel their way in the dark. And we want them to be green, which means they're participating, they're doing all the things that work for their business. So what I would like to do here is just pause for a moment and have you unmute and tell me of these 5 things. I had to count them real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of these 5 things that I know we want for our new members, where have you seen success in your business using some of these? Where have you seen the benefit of referrals, generating referrals for your own business? Renee, I saw your physical hand go up. Do you have an example?
The generating referrals, yes. We had a person come and he got 5 referrals as a visitor from our chapter, came back the next week, joined, and then he's an electrician, he brought a plumber, and he came, and the next week he joined. And he had 6 referrals when he was the first visitor from our group. Wow. So when we know a visitor is coming, we all synergize so that when they come in, we've got people, we start talking the visitor up to our sphere so that when that visitor comes, 6 or 7 of us can hand them immediately with that's that giver's gain, our core value. That's how we model it. So that they understand they're not obligated to join. Here are some people that really need somebody that, they have to go earn the business, but here's their introduction.
Yeah, yeah, to show the value of the system right away. Yeah, Sandy.
Two things happened when I joined in 2020, and that was I found speed networking and I got referrals. And the chapter that I joined, because we were all online, even though it was an in-person, it was networkers, they welcomed me into a power team, and the power team made sure that I was included, and that, because I didn't know what a power team was. I had a lot going, we're doing MSP and blah, blah, blah. But those were two things that in the beginning. And so, yeah, if that helps.
Yes, for sure, for sure. How does bringing visitors, because that's one of the things that I tell them in first year member essentials is I'll say something you can do right now to help your membership is to sponsor a new member. We of course want people to bring visitors, but so much better if they join the chapter. But how does it help your business if you bring a visitor? How is that helpful? Because if we want our new members to do it, it is good for other people, but is there a WIFM? Is there a way for them to get a benefit themselves from bringing the visitor?
It adds to your credibility.
Yes, say more about that, Colleen. Was that you, Colleen, who said that?
Yes.
Yeah, can you say more about that?
Well, because they then get the sense that you're there and that you're committed, and you want them to be successful because you brought in a new member, so everybody can use the services of that new member.
Yeah, yeah, so good. Yeah, it does. It elevates your credibility. Yeah. Is it good for your business if you participate and you're fully engaged in your chapter? Is that good for your business if you are showing up, if you are bringing visitors? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if these things are helping us, I was just on a call this morning with a chapter, and we were looking at some of their statistics, and I said, you've got one person in this chapter who is responsible for 20% of the thank you for closed business in the last 6 months. What if he leaves? You better make sure he has everybody he needs in this chapter. Bring people, and I would recommend you all give him some referrals, because this guy is carrying 20% of the thank you for closed business. There was one other gal who had another 10%. I was like, if these two people leave, you're down a third. We need to be generating referrals consistently across the board, but new members don't understand this. They don't even know what a referral is. Referral marketing in general might be new to them. So there are a lot of conversations we can have to kind of gauge where they are in this process. So if these things are good for us, then they're good for our new members too. And we want to help them in those one-to-ones make progress so that they can be successful. So in the eternally significant words of pop artist James Brown from his single Hot Pants, you got to use what you got to get just what you want. So let's talk about the things that already exist in BNI and how we can use those and what's already happening in your chapters. I would love to hear if people have some success stories already. We have a little something when you induct a new member. We have a process. How does that help in your chapter? And what are you doing to make this a special event? I have seen this done so well in some chapters, and I've seen a missed opportunity in some chapters. What are you doing when you induct a new member to make it a special event? Yeah, Randy.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's good to see everyone here. But what I'm going to say is that the person who invited them, you have to praise that member to say, well, what a great job you did, Jenny, to get everyone here, especially this person, now that we're inducting, me. So thank you, so you have to encourage and be, positive to the chapter who brought that member.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And you can, I've seen chapters to that point, Randy, I've seen chapters bring a variety of people up front in an in-person meeting to say something or be acknowledged, not just the new member, go as fast as you can through the code of ethics and be done. there is an opportunity for some recognition. What are some other things or some other people you bring up front or you recognize when you're inducting a new member? Maybe everybody's on this call because you don't
We
know.
typically, when we induct, we bring that new member up front, but we also take a picture of them as they're being inducted to post on our social media page.
Yes.
And then I believe we're tagging them. I'm not part of that. I should know that, but, and then also, instead of just going through that code of ethics, we're asking them why they decided to join our chapter and the reason why they joined our chapter, especially, if there's visitors there, then they can see why they decided to be in part of our chapter. So
Yes, that's so good, Liz. Yeah, make it a big deal. Ask them why. Amy.
We do that same thing for renewing. Why did you renew? Not just for the new people.
Yes.
And then for the new people, we also kind of print out the little application to get the badge, and we give them a little goodie packet with, things like that. BNI swag that we have,
Yeah.
whatever we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, I see that in the chat. Susan, you said something similar. We give a packet of goodies. Yeah, so you can give some stuff, maybe business cards with everybody's business card, or a good little pen. Stories of new members. You're right, Abelia. We should be tracking those. Exactly. Sandy.
Well, I want to speak about permanently online chapters, which is what I'm in. We're
Yeah.
more of a super regional. We're all in the
Mhm.
state of Washington, but we're located all over the place. And so we try to be very conscious and creative with how we approach new members because we are online.
Yeah.
And so the president, I think she does an awesome job. We're only barely 2 years old. So they've both presidents have done an awesome job with the induction of that, so we're all on camera and we're all, as if it's our own child, because we know how difficult it is sometimes with online chapters.
Yeah.
And we want, if we're acting good, then the visitors will feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there are all kinds of things you can do online that you can't do in person and vice versa. Wouldn't it be great to have, like, for the first several weeks, your new members get their own background? A brand new member
That's
to
an idea.
identify them all the time. You can, I had somebody one time who was giving a pin to somebody, but he had orchestrated to have it delivered or mailed to them beforehand. So he went like this, and then that person got it on the other side and was like, "Oh, thank you." So it looked like they were getting it from each other online. So there are lots of fun things you can do with backgrounds and props and different things. But I think the point of making a big deal about the induction can't be overstated. When we induct someone, it is a big deal. You are part of this family. We want to hear, I remember the chapter that I used to be in, they would have the membership committee person who interviewed their references talk about what they learned. When I interviewed Stephen's references, they talked about how responsive he is. He's so good at his job. They refer their clients to him all the time, and we're just so excited to have him as a new member. So it's great to celebrate them and amplify all of their accomplishments right from the beginning to give them credibility so people can give them referrals as quickly as possible. Marcy, mention next steps. Yeah. And scheduling one-to-ones and passport. Yeah. That part can be overwhelming. So it's so good that you're mentioning it. And then the veteran members can say, let me follow up with you, because the new member probably won't take the initiative. So it's nice to be able to explain again, here's what we're going to do, and we'll help you. So if Marcy had a one-to-one, then you could say, who's next on here? Oh, I think maybe I'll make sure that Abilio has some time. Abilio, would you help so-and-so have a one-to-one with you? Then when Abilio has had that, he'll say, let me introduce you to Leroy. Leroy, I'm not sure if you've met our new member, but I think it's time you had a one-to-one. And that hand-holding a little bit makes them feel honored and helps them not to be so nervous about what they're doing, because they don't know.
Also, Jenny, when
Yeah.
you're inducting somebody, have the mentor as part of that group.
Yeah, the mentor coordinator themselves to be
Yeah.
part of that should be one of the first one-to-ones with the mentor coordinator, because you have all the answers. You know
But when
everything.
you're during the induction,
Yeah,
You have the person that invited them, have a mentor, so they know right from get-go who their
Yeah.
mentor is.
yeah, I think that's so good. I say on the visitor, when I talk about visitor host orientation, I'll say you don't have to just have one visitor host and the member, the visitor. You can bring people from the contact sphere, bring a member of the membership committee and set up an appointment for an interview right away. We have some flexibility in how we do all this, but it exists and we can make it our own. We also have, speaking of the orientation, this is a new member orientation. So once they are inducted, their payment is processed, they are officially on your roster. It is very important to have some time to tell them what the next steps are. What are the highlights? Where are some things? Let me show you BNI Connect. I'm just realizing what time it is, so let's go through this a little bit faster. One-to-ones. We want them to do one every week, so helping them learn how to do that and what we talk about. That's part of the passport. It's part of MSP 2.0. We know it's important, so we want to help them get there. They don't know how to use BNI Business Builder yet. They don't know sometimes that they've been automatically assigned MSP 2.0. So we want to help them figure all of that out. So as you're thinking about what else, I'm going to put you in breakout rooms so that you can talk about this with each other and take some notes and learn from each other. But I want you to think in terms of what else you're already doing or what resources you're using that help your new members already. Because as we can't do everything all at once, but you can start to do one thing that you haven't been doing or tweak and change one thing a little bit. And I think you may see some really powerful results. Here is what I would like us to do in breakout rooms. Because it's one thing to say, I know as I am practicing giving presentations here and there, sometimes I would be tempted when I was newer at it, I would be tempted to say, and then I'm going to tell the story about blah, blah, blah. And then that'll take me about 2 minutes. And then I'll go on to the next thing. And then I would tell the story about blah, blah, blah. And actually it took me 12 minutes. And then my whole talk was off. So there's something about going, yeah, I know this. And something else entirely to be able to say, here's what we do step 1. Here's what we do step 3. Here's what we do step 12. Does that make sense? That's too many steps, but you say it out loud and you hear it. So what I want you to do is to be in breakout rooms with just 3 or 4 other people. And I'm going to give you about 15 minutes. You think that's good, Gina, if we do 15 minutes? And I want you to see if you can articulate to the other people in your breakout room the time frame and the process for a new member. Once that application is approved, and you as the mentor coordinator or as the chapter success coach, you know that we have a new member. What's the next thing you do and the next thing you do, and how long do those things take? If it's just the barest skeleton, that's totally fine. If you have some gaps and you're just realizing them as you say them out loud, that's what we want to know. Because from here, you will know what to talk to your leadership team about so that you can implement some things to get your new members more involved more quickly. All right. Does anybody have questions about the conversation? This is really, I'm going to share this into your breakout rooms. You're just going to talk about what your chapters are doing. If questions come up, that's great. Have a free-flowing conversation. I just want you to hear from each other. Good. Okay.
Yep, the rooms are ready.
Oh, you're the best. All right. Can't wait to hear all about what you learn in 15 minutes.
See you soon.
Okay, fair enough. I'm warned. All right, I'm going to share with you some resources as we wrap up, but I wanted to spend a few minutes after you had a chance to talk with each other to hear what were some of the things that you learned maybe other people are doing in their chapter, and you said, ooh, we should try that in my chapter. Lexi already thought of something. Yeah, what'd you hear?
Well, I just had an idea in our little room that I was like, that's pretty brilliant, especially for chapters that may be smaller or just starting. Is, we all should be doing cross chapter, meeting people and experiencing the bigger BNI because there's more business than just our chapter.
Yeah.
But with newer members, if somebody's a plumber and you know a plumber in another chapter, like maybe ask that other plumber, like, hey, we have a new member. Would you have a one-to-one with them to help them like learn from the plumbing perspective how BNI works and how they can work it? Because that may help, not to make that other chapter member be their mentor or anything,
Right.
but just facilitating that or coordinating that connection could be really helpful in addition to the connections in your own chapter.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that can be applied to the orientation too. Why not, if you have a plumber, why not have the electrician come into the orientation and tell them what it's like in your industry? Because that's way closer than an attorney or a naturopathic doctor. Yeah. Gal, what else?
Journey board and what that could possibly do for our chapter.
Say that first part again, Mary Beth.
The journey board, I wasn't aware of it.
Oh, to kind of track people's progress as a
Right.
new member. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Gal, what did you hear in yours? Oops, your hand's down, but you're still muted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thinking about that. So great advice from Liz. The hardest thing I'm having with members is actually getting them to sit down and complete the whole MSP. They come back and like, yes, and we're like, we want to schedule you. So she said that what they do is actually put them on a rotation before they complete it and use it as a deadline for them to complete it. So if you don't complete it by the time you have to present, you just can't. So I thought that was brilliant. It helps with the accountability and it gives them a deadline. And according to her, they usually end up completing it right on time. So
Okay.
advice for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Is it Maji?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, can you explain a little bit about that journey? How can we keep up on their progress? Is this like how we can see what they're doing with MSP and which, what they're working on exactly?
Yeah, there are trackers that exist that were part of the mentor coordinator training that may have just kind of not been on everybody's radar. But I'm gonna add one of those trackers as an attachment to my follow-up email, because you're probably not the only person going, hey, that's a thing. And so I'll send that in, because I'm already thinking of a couple of new member trackers that will, like, did you do the passport? Have you finished MSP? Have you had your one-
No, that's not, I have trackers and I
Oh.
have a toolkit and I mean, we're very, very, we have a system. I want to know if they're actually doing the MSP. I want to be able to get into the
Oh, into
system
BNI
and
Business
see
Builder
what
to
they're-
do some reporting.
Yeah, so that I could, that would be a real easy way to make them a little more accountable and say, oh, hey, I noticed that you haven't done anything in the last couple, or, what did you think of this particular session? And, I see you're doing this now.
Yeah. Gina,
Do
is
we-
that something mentor coordinators have access to in BNI Business Builder, or is that
I'm
coaches?
uploading the document right now that shows you how to pull the report. Yep.
Oh, she is it. She is my it girl.
Nice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Lovely. Alton.
Yeah, this has been a great meeting, y'all. But in our breakout rooms, we were talking a little bit about how we have different members that will mentor on the different topics, and having a slide during our presentation that outlines, okay, if you need to know how to do a good one-to-one, well, here's the member or two that does that training. That way people see it every week and they know, and just a quick reference, so it's not hidden somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Because like we said, with a lot of these things, they exist and people probably are aware. But if you can find every opportunity to say, remember this, and you reintroduce it, you have more of a chance that people will remember it. That's great. Yeah, and you've got slides in your meetings you can use. Whether you're online or in person, we provide your chapter success coaches with weekly slides that have announcements and that have dates that are coming up. You can easily fold those into other slides that you're using in your in-person or your online meeting. Just reminders to keep everybody fresh of what the best thing is. That's good. Okay, anything else come out of those breakout rooms? Stephen, I saw your hand up. Did you change your mind? It wasn't as brilliant as you thought? Okay, Sandy.
I was trying to raise it and it lowered it. We came out with a sense of urgency with VPs or who, push the button, they've paid, they're going to be inducted. Please let us know. Please let us know before you induct them. It does help. I've experienced it both ways. I find out as a surprise and I find out a few hours before. And it kind of gets my brain like, oh, yay, I can't wait to meet this person, get a hold of them,
You mean as the mentor coordinator?
as the mentor coordinator.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
so and also make a big deal of stuff.
Yeah.
Help
Okay.
the whole chapter make a big deal about the induction, you know.
Yeah. So VP, mentor coordinator communication is what I hear you saying.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yep. That's good. That would
I
be
think
very
I said that right. Right.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
VP, because they were the ones that know when
it gets paid.
when it
Mhm.
gets paid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Stephen, you remembered. What is it?
Yes. When she was talking about if we can see if they've done their MSP, the quick way, well, quick and cumbersome, but if you go to their profile on BNI Connect and you look at their training records, it'll tell you if they've completed or not. If you didn't know how to pull those other reports.
No,
Just an
I knew that. I know I can tell
Okay.
when they're starting and when they've completed, but
done.
what I want is like, where are they in the process?
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can
That's-
kind of urge them on, right? And say,
Yeah,
hey, you
it'll be
got
a
it.
lot.
Keep going, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy, you have our last comment and then we'll go on to our resources.
Hey, thanks, Jenny. Colleen was in our group from Canada. She had a great idea as a chapter success coach is to, once you meet with them, ask if it would be okay if you assign them a training and give them perhaps something like a one-to-one training, so that they start the journey off
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How do you know of
Right.
the thousands of hours of stuff? If you're a new member, how would you even know where to begin? Right? Yeah, that's a great idea. They need a little help with that. It's so good. All right. Well, just so you have a sense of these two things that we've talked about today, because these two things, if we just concentrate on these for the next month or so, MSP 2.0 and the passport, these are things that are combined now, and there's a lot of overlap, and they are going to help your new members get where they're going more quickly. So you can find both of these things in BNI Business Builder. The course is automatically assigned to new members in Business Builder. And you can go through here. Gina is going to help us learn how to report so that we can see, are they halfway done? Have they stalled for 3 weeks? Did they go through it really quickly and maybe they had a technical issue? And then we really would love for you to talk with your other leadership team members about how to celebrate when this is done. There are simple certificates that I'll show you and I've uploaded before and I can send them to you again, that you could do a $5 gift card when they're finished. Something that says, we recognize you completed it. You're part of our group and this is the next step. So great. It goes back to here. I have learned people I can ask questions of. I know that this was a good investment because I've been learning a little bit and I know what my next steps are. You're getting those new customer questions answered with two things that already exist for us. And the passport is similar. And because it's folded into the MSP, it's going to be way easier for them to go. So maybe even shorter than 10 weeks because they're already doing them within the MSP 2.0. That's also in BNI Business Builder under resources. You can download the passport and track that for them. There is also a passport to success tracker so that you can see which one-to-ones they've had. And I'll send that in the follow-up as well. And again, a simple certificate presented well, honoring the people who have completed, or some sort of a small gift card might come out of your dues that people have in the chapter that help you pay for coffee or whatever. So those are things that already exist. And now you're halfway through your term as mentor coordinator. You might need a little refresher and reminder of things and add some stuff so that when you hand things over next month, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start talking about who the next leaders of your chapter will be. It's that time of year. So think about what you will hand over to your successor. All right. What questions do you have? As we wrap up, we are 1 minute over. So I want to be respectful of that. Sandy.
I'll make it short.
Okay.
Does anybody ever I read this somewhere, kept the position for one more leadership team? Does that benefit? Okay, Andy's shaking his head.
I don't know what you mean, what do you mean?
Not replace me, and hand it off, but keep it going into 2025 and then pass it off to a new mentor coordinator.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was
it's-
I was the president for 2 years and my leadership team stayed with me. It was really beneficial.
I
for
think
us.
it really depends on the chapter and the culture and what you're hoping to accomplish. I know a lot of times when chapters launch mid-year, they want to just keep going because they're just starting to feel like they know what they're doing. So they keep on going through October. And I think it depends on, is this a building year and we need some stability? We don't want that to happen too consistently in chapters because we want lots of people to have that credibility and the opportunity and hear new voices. But I do think that it's possible sometimes. Yeah, Andy?
I had a quick question. If somebody already has a journey board put together, would you be willing to share that with me via email? Just, I don't want to rebuild the
Yeah, for sure.
wheel.
Yeah, yeah. If you've got great resources, you also can email them to me and I will send them out to everybody in the email so that we are giving and gaining.
I have a
All right.
question.
Yes.
Will we ever go back to the old Passport to Success? That book was just based on what the membership fee is, when you got that box, you got the passport, you got your badge, you got all the things.
Yeah.
Now that we're beyond the pandemic, is any of that stuff coming back?
We do talk about it a lot. It comes up a lot. In some of the regions, I think some of the franchise regions do talk about it and they're doing it because we do know that members want something in their hands. So I
Yes.
don't have an answer for you, unfortunately, but just know that it is a frequent topic of discussion and we hope to have something, maybe a condensed version, a smaller version. The president of the US Corps, Ron Leonard, is, I think, a fan and he is working on those conversations. So hopefully we will have some answers for people soon.
Thank you.
And every time people ask it, we get to say, see, people still want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was really nice to go through that with your members and
Yeah.
and then they
It's just
knew.
nice to be received in the mail, or when you went in person, it was nice to present it when they were getting inducted. So, they took a lot away, not to be negative, but there should be that. And Jenny, you should make sure they do that because that's what what are we getting? What are we getting?
Yeah.
You see, that's what's going on right now.
I know it is, Randy. I know. Yeah. And I think I'm flattered that you think I have that much power, but I will do my BNI best to influence. Yeah. Susan, one last comment, and then we're going to go on to the next.
I would say probably 5 or 6 years ago, I was part of a sort of a focus group in Charlotte talking about what to give new members. And one of the things that came up that I thought was a great idea was a sort of a calendar book. Now, granted, it would only be good for 1 year, but as part of that in the beginning or at the end as sort of an addendum was the passport and BNI policies and stuff like that. So your calendar that you would keep with you, and have all kinds of important stuff in it. And we all thought it was a great idea, but it just never came to fruition.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, these are really good comments. And every time I do a call like this and I get them, I'm able to take it back to the people who control the checkbooks and the credit cards. So thank you guys for those recommendations. I appreciate it. This is just an example, and I will give the files to you in the follow-up email. Again, I know that I have done this before, but these are simple fillable certificates that you can make a big deal of your people when they're completed. You did the MSP 2.0. You are a success. Hooray, you're a winner. Here's your certificate. Put these in the little black frames that you can get at a dollar store, and it makes them seem, mwah, chef's kiss. You also have a similar thing for the passport. When they finish the passport, they've done all those one-to-ones. Huzzah! Let's get some pom-poms and some cupcakes. Also, you can track these things. These are all things that already exist. I will put these in your follow-up email so you don't have to go digging for them into Business Builder or somewhere else. They'll just be at the top of your inbox. And I know that you always read my emails, don't you? I know you do. All right, so finally, I would recommend a couple of things. from our conversation today, you may want to go back and reach out to some new members, maybe in the last 3 or 6 months, and say, let me do a little catch up on some things that I think we may have missed. It's not too late. If you can do any of this stuff before their 7-month review, their 7-month check-in, you have more of a likelihood that they are going to find value in the membership and renew. Chances are new members, first-year members, have made that decision about whether or not they'll renew by the time they have their 7-month check-in. So we just want to make sure everything is okay. So if you can capture them in the first 6 months, that's even better. And then decide one thing you'll share with your leadership team. Maybe you talk about it at your chapter success meeting. Maybe you just send an email to your president and say, let's have coffee. I have some ideas. Maybe everybody in your chapter goes through the new MSP because you've got some people who have been in there for 100 years and they don't remember what they learned. Or maybe you have everybody go to first year member essentials. You have some very specific things that you can do, but just pick one. Don't do everything. And I will leave you with this. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. Think about that. Kidneys, my friend, kidneys. Think about what you're going to do and then do it. Do it. Thanks for your afternoon. I really appreciate it. If you have questions, please send me an email, jennybutts@bni.com. If you're a coach, hit me up in Teams. I am happy to answer your questions, and I will send you a follow-up email tomorrow with these resources just so you can have them at your fingertips. Okay, thank you, Gina. Go to bed now. It's very late for you.
Yes, I have to catch an early train in the morning. Great to have you all with us.
All right, thanks.